Hello, hello, hello. Okay, another maybe insight, maybe reflection. Never mind. Okay, whatever. Doesn't don't ICBA restarting PC. Okay. So I think I find an escape. Uh, I don't know if that's the correct wording. I ran away from um what I was doing, or not really from what I was doing, from who I was. And that is what is at the root of my problem. Um, my problem with the energy levels and the depersonalization. So um, uh, instead of, I don't, okay, where did I even come, to this idea? This was kind of completely out of nowhere. Um, a thought popped into my head, which kind of, well, I was listening to a song, and I think it was this or next one. I don't know, one of these. I'll just play it in the background so you can somewhat empathize or get into the mood of it, even though it might be distracting me a little bit. So, this song was just a slight throwback into the way I used to treat life. And um, I think even though I spent, so much time looking through old songs or whatever, trying to re-engage with those things, I couldn't feel it fully up until now because I was relieving my um, self of pressure. This is an idea I've been kind of unraveling over the last few videos. I have been sedating myself, and now I am slowly able to reconnect with this um, emotion, I guess. I'm starting to get a lot more frustrated. I'm a lot more. I would say I was pretty like aggressive uh previously in a sense that I stopped, catering to people, but not aggressive towards life itself. Maybe my aggression or the way I posed myself was actually a way of um deceiving myself or others that I don't think I was deceiving actually. because I would also cry about it all the time to everyone. So no, but maybe subconsciously, to some extent, I was trying to deceive myself that, look at me, I'm so aggressive, I have it like under control. But compared to like true aggression, like towards fate itself, that was nothing. I don't know how to explain it. Maybe I'll get back to it, but I think I had. You need to understand, I've lived my life in a very brutal and um not self forgiving, not self accommodating way for a really long time, for most of my life, I guess. And I would say that is um has kind of imprinted itself into part of myself. And when I'm not this brutal, unforgiving person towards myself, I don't feel like myself. So it's kind of ironic when and the ideas I've been exploring recently are about, well, relatively recently, last 1 to 2 years, about actually looking at what I want and etc. Right? Because I had this disillusion that I was being brutal for myself and there was nobody that fucking cared about me. And I was like, why would I want to, like, if I'm not gonna do things for myself, then who will? And who's gonna honor my interests? So I kind of went on this path of trying to re-engage with myself or whatever I thought, like try to build healthy engagement with myself. But I think like this seems like they are opposites, but I think those opposites combined is what will actually yield me the result that I want. What do I mean by that? I think in that brutality towards myself, there was a some degree or deep-rooted self. Well, there's like layers of like self-destruction, but also like at its core, I think like self-love, or desire to fulfill your own interests, I guess. I don't know if I worded it correctly, but something along those lines. And what happened is when I like completely snapped and my values got destroyed, around 2 years ago, I started running away from. I don't know if this is accurate. I don't know if I started running away from it or I just couldn't do it anymore. And now that I am able to do it, I'm saying, oh, I was running away. And I'm just projecting my current state because I feel like now I am going to be able to re-engage with it very soon. Maybe, maybe that's like a little misprojection. Most likely it is. I don't know how to put it. I think there's something. I don't know. I don't know. There's something that I associate with myself, like on a very deep core level, with I don't know, like cold showers. Not cold showers, but like the daily struggle, like pushing self to limits. And I haven't even tried to challenge myself or push myself to limits for a long time. Um, and I think the reason why I have stopped doing it is, well, there's a few reasons, potential reasons. I don't know which are accurate, but some that I thought of are, one is because of how severely I broke myself, I got scared of um, doing further damage onto myself. I think I've explained how stress can destroy your nervous system and how it's neurodegenerative. Um, I've realized that that's what I did to myself, and that made me like scared of uh, fucking something up further. Um, and that wasn't just like a conscious decision, it was also subconscious. The moment I felt that I was starting to reach my limits even a little bit, like start tapping into that, my body would completely shut down. For example, recently I've been doing, um, avoiding the pressure releases. Guess what my body's been doing as a result of that? I have went back to doing the same thing I was doing 2.5 years ago. What is that? Sleep maxing. I went back to a behavior where my body is just like shutting down. Um, which is kind of interesting. So I guess I'm back where I left off before I started moving away from it. Maybe I need to fully. It's like the idea I explained previously about when you remove the band-aid, you need to actually tank some damage from the wound to be able to heal it. Maybe that is. It's just part of that process. It completely aligns with that idea I presented. And but my insight is that I think I was running away from this, and it previously I also said, oh, I was running away, but I argued it from the perspective of aesthetics and that some people have natural aesthetics. And now I've already kind of changed my view on that. I think aesthetics are bullshit. They are, I mean, they're nice, but they're a secondary or tertiary thing. They're not um they shouldn't be a primary driver. They will never um sustain. And I don't know how to put it. I don't know how to put it without putting it too simple to where it can be interpreted in a very misinterpreted really hard. If I were to put it super simple, it would be something like I truly enjoy the daily grind. I truly enjoyed it. I consider that to be the most fulfilling way of living life. To push yourself, to embrace challenge, to watch yourself grow and ache in pain from like to me like the idea of like my muscles hurting is like very satisfying. It's like proof that I am growing. So in a way that pain is also kind of satisfying. I truly somewhere I truly appreciate that ability to do that. And I ran away from it, or maybe I became incapable of sustaining it because I was started releasing pressure like crazy. Um, but I would argue that the act of releasing pressure is a form of running away from it. So it's kind of the same thing. So I ran away from this kind of potential version of myself because I got embarrassed of it. That was all it was. I got embarrassed of it. No fucking way. Now that I put it this way, holy fuck. That is so stupid. And why did I get embarrassed of it? Because well, when I did it initially, it was built on aesthetics. It was built on, or at least so I think. Maybe it wasn't, but it was, and I had a severe de aesthetic purging, let's say. Some people shit on my painting to a point where I just can't see any beauty in the painting anymore. It's just like it's just got shit on. It's like imagine you got your Mona Lisa and then you drew like cartoon Winnie the Pooh like on her forehead. Like the painting is over. You'll never be able to take it as seriously as you did before. You know? The painting is ruined. It's got defaced, right? And the same thing happened to my aesthetics. I um, saw, I stopped seeing the beauty in my what I was doing because I stopped seeing beauty in other people, and I still don't see it. And uh, but I think that was false. Maybe that was just an excuse. Maybe I went to blame the ugliness of other people to justify myself running away. Well, in reality, what the fuck does it matter about the beauty of other people? That's like not my problem. Um, so what if they're ugly, you know? Like, it was never about them, was it? You know? So I went to blame the world for being ugly, and I used that to run away from trying to fulfill my potential. Truly, maybe. I don't know if this formulation is correct. I don't know. Or maybe, um, like my car spun out of control and I just got, how should I say? I got stuck in this mode and I didn't have the means or resources to get out of it. I did try very hard, but I just didn't have the perspective I needed to be able to get out of it. And only now I am starting to form this perspective, and now it seems so obvious. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see how this will age. I'm really unsure about this. But um, I don't know. When I was listening to the song, I just remembered that kind of feeling of I don't know. For example, some of the things I used to do is um, I used to wake up at like 4 or 5 a.m. and go for these runs, and I didn't just run because it was like, oh, this is healthy, blah blah blah. It was almost like a self ritual of pushing myself, and it reflected in the way I would run. So, for example, I would have like generally a distance I would do is like 10 kilometers, and I generally wouldn't wear like hot clothes, so I'd expose myself to the cold. Even if it's like full in the winter, I'll go in a shirt. And I would run in bursts and try to really like push my body to the limit. So I wasn't doing this like I think it's kind of gay. Uh, like this like cardio running. I just that was like not appealing. I did the kind of opposite. I did the like short interval. Like you run until your like brain is trying to leave your body, and then you walk. And then you run until your brain is leaving your body, and then you walk, right? And the kind of feeling that that created, combined with, the crazy amount of hours I was putting into CS and how reserved I was at the time, it just created this, I don't know how to put it, like cold, sharp feeling. At least that's how I felt. Like my consciousness felt. It felt cold and sharp when I did those things. And for some reason, listening to that song made me remember that. And I think that is the kind of, even though it was just like one of my first times listening to the song, it's not like a song I listened to before. Um, and um, I don't know how to describe it, but it's kind of like this stubbornness. It's like this never-ending like fight to keep your form. And by form I mean like your consciousness in the right shape. Like I know if I let go even for a little bit, then I will degrade and, well, basically what I've done now. I would consider myself in a degraded state right now, even though compared to, a lot of people I've spoken to are like, "Oh, you're so smart for your age." Like, shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up. It's like such a stupid cope. Like, "Oh, compared to average," and then average is fucking like, bleh. Like everyone has their own like points where they are happy. And for me, that is somewhere on that level. And I don't know, I actually don't really have like a strong explanation for this. It was just like a complete intuitive insight, to be honest. I don't really know what there is to break down in it. There really isn't. I have ran away from my potential? I don't know. No. Yeah, maybe. I ran away from responsibility that I was taking upon myself for uh, pushing myself. And I don't even know if that is correct, to be honest. No, I don't think I ever abandoned responsibility. Fuck, I don't know. English language is failing me. I feel like I would be able to express it better in Russian. I ran away from mercilessly, like that merciless pursuit. And what I mean by that is merciless upon self. I ran away from that brutal pursuit of my goals. I don't know how to put it. It was like war, back then. It was like a kill or be killed, do or die. There wasn't this like, oh, self-love, do things the way you want to do. It was very brutal, and I'm not sure where I got that from. I don't think either of my parents are like this. Um, I definitely got it somewhere in my early teens, or that's where I observed it. But I think now I will be able to do it on a completely different level. Like before, I would sometimes reach that level and like tap into it, right? And I think with just a little bit more work, I might be able to just become that level, not reach it. And I don't think any person that I've spoken to can understand this or has ever or will ever be able to understand this. Like the desire to do that. Like if I can't do that, I don't think my life will ever be complete. It doesn't matter if I um get great riches, make a lot of social connections or have 10 million bitches or whatever. I don't think any of those things will, like, yeah, they'll distract me. They'll act as ways to relieve pressure, but they won't replace this need to push self or try to squeeze the most out of your life. And I don't mean that in like some materialistic way, but I mean that in a very intrinsic way. Like, yeah, you could say, oh my God, they squeezed the most out of their life. Look at their career. Like, who the fuck? Like, when I'm at my deathbed, do you think I'm gonna sit there and think, like, oh, I had a great career? I'm going to think whether I lived my life fully or not. And what means to live life fully is did I explore, um, did I fulfill my potential? And that's got nothing got to do with whether the world thinks I fulfilled my potential or not. The only judge here is self, not God, not fucking society, not people close to you. Self. I want to fulfill my own expectations, not expectations of anything else. And maybe the reason I ran away from it is, well, I definitely blamed uh, others for it initially, for my loss of enthusiasm. But in the end, it's like, I don't know. I don't know. I honestly don't think I could have went on even if I wanted to, because the way I did it, I have had so much stress. I've had so much, like my whole, if you imagine like a tube for, sprinkling water, it had so many holes in it by then that it was kind of inevitable that I would have stopped. Because what I really want to do is create maximum pressure and just start fucking digging shit up. That's kind of my instinctive desire. But I have uh, put in that in pursuit of that desire, I have created so much pressure that I've started creating a lot of holes in the rubber tube or whatever. And it was like you give it blow, but it doesn't, or you put pressure in it, but it escapes through all the places. So all of these kind of 2 years after I crashed have been kind of focused in patching up each one of these. And I did a great job. There was, if I were to make a list of all of the beliefs that I've like addressed and corrected, I probably have several hundred. And it's been what, 600 days? Um, I've made generational progress, I think. Um, if not multi-generational progress, like for my bloodline. And I'll continue to do so. But I think I ran away because I couldn't keep going anymore. Because previously I have um, opened up all of those. A lot of them were there before. There were like points of weakness. Okay, okay, you know what? I can actually oh, it works. Caption something. Stress isn't just neurodegenerative. You know what? I'm changing my mind on this. The way stress works is it opens up weak points in your construction. And great amount of stress can open up so many holes that you don't even know what the fuck you're looking at, right? And it becomes very confusing and very difficult to resolve, and it's actually counterproductive. But if you were to raise it gradually and slowly, to the level that you're barely able to contain, and then just push it until something fails, and then you were to fix that one thing, like turn off the stress for a little bit to fix that one thing, and then fucking return it on, and then fix the next thing, then stress is actually your main mechanism to improve. Because stress is the thing that uh, unlocks that new, or how should I say, stress and pressure are kind of the same thing, and pressure is your main resource for doing anything. So stress is the core source of energy. And um, on a neurochemical level, that might not be accurate, but whatever. I will not. I will cross-reference that later. Maybe I'll read up more on this. But or you know what? Fuck the neurochemical. Okay, whatever. So stress allows you to break parts of yourself, like break the walls of your, you know, rubber tube. Imagine you have a tire on your bike, right? And there is like a part of it where there's like a factory defect and it's prone to failure. And you're slowly pumping the tire, you're slowly pumping it until that uh weak spot like blows up. And if you patch it up properly in like a way that is stronger than before, like reinforce it properly and apply the patch properly, then your tire will actually, it will fail at a different point. It will uh be able to handle a higher amount of pressure, and therefore, and for us higher amount of pressure means more ability, because we use pressure to drive activities, that it means more output, more strength, more capability. So stress is only neurodegenerative if you don't patch up those holes. If you do, it is your main tool for progression. It is the main way you push yourself. You uh, raise the stress until you start failing, and then push yourself to be better in a outside of stress. Don't push yourself to be better while stressing. That like trying to fix your tire and apply a patch while it's still at peak of its pressure and you're still pumping it. That is just uncomfortable. That's never going to work. So it's important to be able to switch between those modes, maintenance mode and stress performance mode. I did not have this maintenance mode skill before developed. I didn't know how to do it properly. So in a sense, it was inevitable that this would have happened. I accumulated uh like one part of the tire burst and I pump harder and harder, and then another part of the tire burst and I just keep pumping like crazy. I'm like getting a little bit tired, but I don't stop. And then another part burst, and then I pump even harder, and then eventually it gets to a point where it doesn't matter how hard I pump, I cannot keep up the pressure of the tire, and then I started deflating like crazy. So my crash was got to do with um, not addressing all of those things. And first thing that I changed is I turned off stress. I started doing things to relieve pressure, which is actually rational in this case, because I needed some time without stress to be able to reconstruct myself and address all of those points where I failed, or where I snapped or broke. And now it's time to start building up stress again, building up pressure. And I kind of misattributed the role of stress here. I, I went to thinking that stress is an absolute evil, an absolute bad thing. But in reality, it's part of what you need to progress. It's just part of it. It's neither good nor bad. If you, it's a tool that you can misuse absolutely, or you can absolutely use. Um, but without using stress, um, it's like never using a pump. It's like, what's the point of fixing your tire if you're not gonna fucking fill it up afterwards? Why the fuck do you even need the tire, right? Um, so I guess the takeaway is time to start embracing stress. I mean, I guess that's is what I've been doing by um, not allowing myself to use those cheap pressure reliefs. And maybe that state that I referred to, actually, if I were to analyze it in terms of stress and pressure, it's it's a state that literally is characterized by having a high degree of pressure. Like being sharp is the same as having high pressure within your mind. Not in a not in the sense that you're overwhelmed and you're completely breaking down under pressure. I mean, in a sense that you're imagine you have something like a really strong reinforced tire, triple, quadruple layers. It will be able to handle way higher level of pressure, and it will be much closer to solid, if that makes sense. I know for cycling that's not ideal, but for us it is. If that makes sense. How else can I express it? I think I've explained it simple enough. So I ran away, but I don't think I ran away in the sense that I shouldn't have ran away. I absolutely should have ran away. I needed to do that. Um, because even if I didn't, it, it was kind of inevitable that I eventually would have deflated because of the accumulated damage. I needed to adjust and actually address all of the leaks. And once that is done, I need to start building up pressure again. And so that's it. That's kind of I know what my next step is. Start taking on more and more pressure. Start expecting more of myself. Start pushing myself and start engaging with that high pressure thinking. Um, time to do shit. Time to get shit done. And of course, if I again start noticing leaks, then yeah, I'm going to chill out. I'm going to um, do whatever I need to take the time to fix it. Okay, I think that's it.